Amateurs talk about dopamine. Professionals talk about acetylcholine. Or perhaps it would be more accurate to say that, don't know if professionals is the right word. Let's say professionals and dilettantes alike. We'll talk about at least 2 different neurochemicals, instead of just focusing on dopamine, like so many laypersons do nowadays. And I'd like to think that a dilettante is at least a rank above layperson. I'm certainly not a professional, but I'm pretty sure I qualify as a dilettante. A step up from a layperson. So all you out there who are squealing about dopamine all the time, could you at the very least also talk about acetylcholine? Oh, calm down, Judd. I've had too much coffee. Well, what do I want to do? Got myself a vengeance on my highest brick here. This is Borderlands 1 Enhanced, so the vengeance glitch doesn't do its thing like it did in OG Borderlands 1. Oh. Why do I have 2 of these thunderstorms? Oh, I'm just trying to get my proficiency up by beating up on Iridian Guardians at the promontory, but I don't think that's what I'm going to be doing for this video. This video is all about dopamine versus acetylcholine, and I'm just using Borderlands 1 Enhanced as a vehicle to make whatever kind of point it is I'm trying to make. Let's get this out of the way. I've talked about this before, but it's been some time since the last time I talked about it. These disappearing sites, that pisses me off. See, if I was operating purely on dopamine, I wouldn't care about that. But because my acetylcholine actually does its job, I notice details like this. And I find it insulting. Nowadays, whenever someone talks about doing the loot goblin thing, they always mention dopamine, but they never talk about acetylcholine. Oh, bank's full. Why aren't you using this, Judd? Don't you know this is one of Brick's best weapons? Yeah, but it's not my style. I'd rather use a spiked shotgun for melee. Take advantage of Brick's melee skills with that sort of thing. Unforgiven Masher, but it's a double Z instead of a double X. And has a bad body type. I think it's the worst body type. Body 1. Also has a Mag 1 type of cylinder. So this is like the... And it's a 66. So this is like the lowest grade apart from the double Z material type. And by the way, the double X material type, yes, it is intended to be enunciated double X. It's a reference to Remington and Winchester. These Morty-style weapons that I have on Brick, who just doesn't have as much fun with them as Morty does. Oh, Hyperion Reaper. One of the rarest legendaries. Probably definitely most useful on Morty. But probably second to that, Brick. This is just a good, well-rounded shotgun. It's so excellently well-rounded, I can't bring myself to get rid of it until it's supplanted by a better one. Same for this. This is a Brute with barrel 5. Barrel 5 works best on a death type of shotgun. Barrel 4 works best on a Brute. Because barrel 5, max accuracy. Barrel 4, max damage. Max damage. Q Carmageddon reference. A Brute with barrel 5, though. I can't help wondering how that would be on a Hyperion Brute. Hyperion also makes both the Brute and the Death. SNS Brutes and Deaths and Hyperion Brutes and Deaths, those are all some of the best, most top-tier assault shotguns. Good placeholder for a Cobra, but I have a Cobra, built from really low-grade parts, except for the stock. I think this is stock 2, and as long as you have stock 2 or better, typically that's good enough on most sniper rifles. Now, if I recall, I think the Torg Cobra has more recoil than the average Torg sniper rifle. Got myself a Cyclops with stock 5. You don't see stock 5 very often on sniper rifles. Chimera. Here we go. Hyperion Brute with barrel 4, but it's a level 66. Double X. Intense Stomper. I really want one of these on my highest Morty. And not only is it an intense Stomper, but it has an 18-round mag. It's got barrel 4, body 3, stock. What stock is that? 3, I think, and sight 1, and an 18-round base mag capacity, and it has material 2, the urban material. So this is getting pretty close to, this isn't the top tier configuration for a Stomper, but it's somewhere in the middle, the high end of mid-tier. I've never found an absolute perfect one. An absolute perfect one would have barrel 4, body 5. Any stock will do because it's a doll, but if you want absolute best, stock 5. Sight 2 or better, anything other than sight 1, that's personal preference. I like sight 2, but maybe you want the ultimate Gucci, which would be sight 5, and 18-round base mag capacity, and material 3, which is the desert material type for doll, but you also want the intense prefix, which overrides the desert or urban prefixes. And what that does is grant crit bonus. Plus 50% per shot, so that's 150% per burst. Which interfaces with Morty's Ranger class mod, if it has listed crit bonus buff, and it does that for the entire team. So if you have a Ranger Morty on your team and you want to do something a little different, like instead of giving everyone a sniper rifle, you could give everyone not specifically a Stomper, but a combat rifle with the intense prefix. The two best types of combat rifles being the Cobra and the Stomper. And I guess you could say that turns everyone into a designated marksman. Oh, and here we have a Hyperion Death with barrel 4. ZX indicates it has body 3. ZPR body 5. That's, you want, when it comes to shotguns, you want model numbers that start with either ZX or ZPR. If it's non-elemental, you want ZPR, that's body 5. If it's elemental, you want ZX, that's body 3. Which, barrel 3 and body 3 grant a bonus to elemental tech. Probably not going to be doing anything exciting for the purposes of this excursion, since it's supposed to be about dopamine and acetylcholine, and here I've gone off on a spiel, and yes, it's pronounced spiel, it's German. Did anything I was talking about a moment ago, does any of that have to do with dopamine or acetylcholine? Well, I was using acetylcholine to obsess over all of those details. Or in the process of us obsessing over those details, acetylcholine was facilitating my process, I guess you could say. Now I'll go to the vault so I can talk about how we're using more than just dopamine when we're playing video games. Let me put this on, and this, and this. Since I have Bombardier, and yes, that is how you pronounce that, it's French. Of course, the bandits don't pronounce it right, they pronounce it Bombardier. Oh yeah, barrel 2. Barrel 2 on a Torg, 91.8 accuracy. Now, dopamine is getting my brain psyched up for potentialities, possibilities, opportunities. I'm pondering, what might I score out of these red chests? And that's not a bad thing. Dopamine is like the id. It's neither good nor bad. It's how you utilize it that determines the goodness or the badness.
That's my stuff.
I don't need to take anything to sell because some of you might know this already, but there's kind of a limit of sorts to how much dosh you can have before it starts to screw up the game or confuse the game. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.47 billion double dollars. Burst fire launchers are dumb. Not my style. Inefficient. You pretty much have to be using Bombardier with rocket regen. And you're a 66, so I'm not the least bit interested in you. Wouldn't be interested in you anyway, because you suck. As most Iridian weapons do. The Thunderstorm is kind of good, though. And I think this is the best variation of it. The Model 110 with this backwards curving thingamadoozer on there, which this part on the underside, no. The crystal-looking thing on top and the bone-looking thing on the bottom, those have to do with... Shucks, how do I describe this? Never mind. Clearly I can sell one of these. I'll deal with that later. It's like... not mag capacity, but cell, like battery, whatever, capacity. But then there's also recharge rate. And I don't need either of those. I don't need to obsess too much over those Iridian electric shotguns. Hey, look at this now. Now this is getting my dopamine flowing. 2 legendaries in one chest. Oh, but try getting 2 legendaries out of a white chest. 66, and of course they're both 66 with bad parts. This one has body 4, which is why the model number starts with BA. And it has the biggest mag size for Vladov. 9-round base capacity, which you can only get on the blast hammer. Because otherwise 9 rounds is what you would typically see on an S&S assault shotgun. And then this one has barrel 1 and body 1, but it has a 7-round mag. I hate scopes on shotguns. So, a dopamine is what my brain was using to get me excited about what I might find in these red chests. Now, acetylcholine is what I'm using to figure out how best to use them. This is built from like the most basic parts possible. Aside from, I think the body is always the part that defines a T.D.O.R legendary. And I don't know repeater parts. Except for what, I know what body 5 looks like. Because that's what turns an ordinary repeater into a machine pistol. Most of us who actually use T.D.O.R legendaries only use them to regen ammo for better weapons. But for the end game, on any character, an electric equalizer pairs really well with a defiler. The equalizer always has body 3. This one also has barrel 3. That's barrel 4. That's also barrel 3. What's really cool, if you're the type who likes to obsess over details like I do, because I'm an ISTJ and am therefore justified in obsessing over details as I do, because I'm fulfilling the stereotype by doing so. I'm one of a multitude of ISTJs who initially mistyped as INTJ. But according to my research, INTJs don't obsess over details quite like ISTJs. The ones that I already have are overall better. 67 versus 66, and yes, it's versus, pronounced with a sus, not a says. I'll forgive you if you say verses, but I won't forgive you if you say verse in place of versus. I will feel insulted if you say it that way, in my presence. Capiche? So, the only edge this one has is 9-round mag versus 7-round mag, which is not enough of a reason to favor it. Of course. And again, we have 67 versus 66. 5 versus 7 rounds. And I reiterate that I hate scopes on shotguns. Structurally superfluous. Also, barrel 3 and body 5 ZPR. Barrel 3, Body 3, ZX. This is actually exactly how you want the Maliwan Plague to be built. Barrel 3, Body 3, because those parts grant a bonus to elemental tech. And if you're going to be using a corrosive shotgun or an elemental shotgun of any sort, of course you're going to want as many shots to be delivering, as many shots per mag to be delivering elemental procs. As many as possible. Oh, and check out that fire rate, 1.6. And the fire rate on this, 2.5. Vladov, 2.5 fire rate. ZPR, Body 5. Pretty sure that's the maximum fire rate for that type of shotgun. Double X masher. Barrel 1, but it also has Body 5. And I think that cylinder, which is not a mag, it's a cylinder, is a mag 4. Here's just a good, well-rounded, well-built fire revolver. Good for hunting wereskags. Ammo regen. 23 versus 25. I'll keep the one I have, even though it's the most basic bitch version of it. Apart from the mag. This is only to regen ammo for this. This regens ammo for all my other revolvers, but because it has a good barrel type and is electric, it functions as a workhorse also. This would be effective for fighting guardians on the promontory or any other enemy with a tough shield. Let's go to New Haven. If you are one of my regulars, then you probably know this about me already, but I'm a Hoosier, born and bred in Indiana. Alright, my money isn't glitched. Born and bred in Indiana, and I used to live in Fort Wayne.
There's no expense in making guns that excel in every area.
And at the time worked in New Haven, which is right next to Fort Wayne. There are lots of New Havens throughout the U.S. I think. I haven't actually researched just how many New Havens there are in this country. This would be a really good, just a good, well-rounded launcher. Except for the body type. The body type holds it back. 0.3 fire rate, that's unacceptable. I'll only use 0.5 or better. That's something that I don't understand why they did this in so-called enhanced. They handicapped rocket launchers by giving them slow fire rates. So they need to have, in order to be even a little bit useful, they need to have good body types, like this. Hey, 0.6. Okay, my dopamine's going. I don't need this. This is a Morty-style weapon. But I'd be justified in buying it just for the sake of having it. Because look how good it is. It's got barrel 5. It's got whatever scope that is. And this thing down here. And a 69 round mag. And it's a level 69. But this Let's compare this to the electric launcher I've already got, which is not a 63, it's a, I think, a 68. You have to de-equip your weapon to your inventory to see its true level because of a quirk of the weapon proficiencies.
Which is a bit difficult to explain, but that's why that happens. The higher your proficiencies become, the more prominent this thing gets. I think it was the original idea was your weapon proficiency, as it goes up, it would make you able to use over-leveled weapons. Like it would reduce their level so that you could use them. Something to that effect. Oh.
Is it really that much better that it would be worth... Well, the fire rate. Sure, why not? Yeah, see, that's a purple 69. And this is a blue 68. But it's better. I can go ahead and sell this. I prefer this type of sight anyway.
400% more awesome. Also, torque doesn't make the guns out of freaking wood.
So there might be more prestige in having a purple 69, but if the stats are better on a blue 68 because of the parts, and it has a sight that I prefer, then shucks, I'll favor the blue 68. See, this is where dopamine and acetylcholine are having themselves a conflict. Because dopamine is more excited by prestige. Like the idea of having a purple 69. Whereas acetylcholine is more excited by the purposefulness of a thing. Like this being of lesser rarity and one level lower, same element with a sight that I prefer, and it's overall better. Oh, and 0.6 fire rate. See, my dopamine is getting excited about the idea of having a near perfect Thanatos just for the sake of having it, because it has barrel 5. I'm pretty sure I have a Thanatos, but my acetylcholine is telling me that Brick just doesn't need that. Brick certainly doesn't need a Gemini. These launchers appear to be built from...
You don't need to be a better shot. You just need to shoot more.
I want to say the same parts. Except for the exhaust port. I don't usually look at that. The exhaust on the back. I don't really need it. I reiterate, I'm having a dopamine versus acetylcholine conflict. My dopamine wants this almost perfectly parted Thanatos. Barrel 5, and a perfectly parted one would be barrel 5, like this one has, but also a better scope than this. I forget what scope this is. And pretty much your choice of accessory. I just don't need it. See, I'm going to listen to my acetylcholine. I'm going to let my acetylcholine override my dopamine. I just don't need this. Might as well see what else is around here. I have found legendaries in white chests before. I've found legendaries in dumpsters before. But that's certainly not the status quo. A stinger.
HX. I'm not sure what body type that indicates. Oh.
Yeah, that's body 5. And it's got the TV screen type of scope, which I like. I don't really need this. This is a good lil type of weapon. Outdoor ceiling fan. Even after all these years, I love to examine all these nitty-gritty details. I only came here for one reason. S&S Munitions, one of my favorite brands. But a clip is a device other than a speed loader used for loading a magazine or cylinder. By the way, you'll see this same Malawan poster in Borderlands 2. I'm not sure how common it is, but I do recall there being one at Ellie's garage. Oh, and S&S doesn't make combat rifles. They make machine guns, but not combat rifles. This, if they did make combat rifles and you got one built from these parts, which this looks like it's built entirely from type 3 parts, the barrel, the body, the stock, and the sight. And let's just, I can't tell what kind of mag it has, but let's pretend it has an 18 round base mag capacity, and that looks like an explodey go nuts elemental adapter or elemental accessory. This would have good tech, but it's a tri-burst rifle, and elemental tech, in my opinion, just doesn't work well with burst fire because it's unpredictable. Now, if you got an elemental proc, with every third shot, then that would be reliable. But that's just not how things work in Borderlands. The most reliable burst fire elemental is Crom's sidearm. Which is a tri-burst repeater, which in the nomenclature of our world could be defined as a machine pistol. It doesn't have body 5, but can still be defined as a machine pistol. Anyway, it's a good electric weapon.
You need a trusty gun by your side.
What kind of grenades do I have equipped?
Only the best. Bouncing Betty. 69 Bouncing Betty. Ever used a Mongol with Bombardier? A top quality Bombardier class mod with rocket regen?
Let's see if I make this. No.
If he took more than one shot, you weren't using hiccups.
Nobody move! I lost my contact lens.
Of course, with a fire rate of 2.6, it would be a burst fire launcher. With the best body type. And the sight that I prefer. Not going to buy it.
There's been some talk that certain employees have been embracing weapons not manufactured by the Jacobs Corporation for their elemental modifications. We remind ourselves of the company motto: if it ain't a Jacobs, I'd rather be dead. Please lead by example.
Look at the accuracy on this. Since this is the best body type, I think RWL is the letter combo you want to see at the beginning of the model name. And this is just a well-rounded Torg rocket launcher. Why do I have that if I have the legendary Torg launcher? What's it called?
Nobody move! I lost my contact lens.
The Redemption? The reference to the rocket launcher from Halo. Or, no, not Halo. Unreal Tournament, right? Man. These games that I used to play the hell out of back in the day, haven't played them in a long time. I've played Unreal Tournament, and Unreal Tournament 2004. I only briefly played the original Unreal. I know this isn't as good as the Equalizer I already have, but let's see how they compare. Barrel 2 on a TDR, so 83.9 accuracy. Barrel 2, in my opinion, is perfectly fine on a masher. Gives you the loosest pattern for a masher, especially on a TDR or a Jacobs. Maybe you don't always want the tightest pattern on a masher.
In standard issue Borderlands, if I recall, your backpack and piggy bank are transposed compared to how it is here. And I don't know why they changed that for enhanced. Why they changed it to this configuration. It was fine the way it was.
Something else about the Stomper. And I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on my Doll Allegiance run as Lil, but I haven't done anything. I haven't made an episode for that for some time now. I might pick that back up at some point. Anyway, even though this is a Roland style of weapon, Lil can override the Stomper's one weakness, which is slow bullets. She has the high velocity skill. And she has Quicksilver, which speeds up cyclic rate. So if you have a perfectly parted Stomper, especially if it's an intense one, you can have some fun with it as Lil, not just as Roland. Especially if you go for a mercenary class mod. a top quality 5-line perp with bonuses to both Quicksilver and high velocity. And of course, if you're looking to do something different with Morty, you could use the Ranger class mod of a top quality 5-line perp with a bonus to crit, intense stomper, or intense cobra. If you're one of those who likes to try something different, just for the sake of keeping things fresh. I couldn't decide which of these two Jacobs shotguns I liked better, because this one's a 66, but it has a Mag 4 type of cylinder, which is way better than a Mag 1 type of cylinder. The Mag 4 is actually, when it comes to the combat shotgun parts, the cylinder, which is not a mag, it's a cylinder, but it's called a mag for the sake of shorthand, I guess. The Type 4 is actually the baseline, which grants neither bonus nor penalty, if I recall my research on the Borderlands wiki. So we've got ZPR, and it's a Matador with barrel 1. And though the accuracy appears low, that's fine, because it's a Matador, a double X Matador, so it's still a pretty good shotgun. Just you're gonna get more satisfaction if you jam the muzzle in the enemy's face. And then this one, barrel 3, body 1. A Mag 1 type of cylinder. I still can't visually distinguish the body types on shotguns and sniper rifles, but the first 2 or 3 letters of the model number are what give that away. So this one has SG indicates body 1, the lowest quality body type. ZPR, body 5, highest quality body type. Matadors can have anything up to barrel 4. I don't think Matadors can have barrel 5. The absolute best type of Matador would be a Jacobs double X Matador with a model number starting with ZPR, and then if you want max damage, a Mag 5 type of cylinder, that's the 2-shooter. But if you want maximum versatility without any handicaps like slow reload, like that's what you get with the 12-round cylinder, which is the Mag 2 type of cylinder, which if you really look at it, it has 8 chambers, and yet it holds 12 rounds, and that has always messed with my head ever since I first played OG Borderlands 1 back in 2009. I've always preferred the Mag 4 type of cylinder. Oh, if this delivered an elemental proc with every 3rd shot, I would use it way more often. Also, I wish it had body 3 instead of body 4. That would boost its elemental tech. And barrel 3 instead of barrel 4. That would also boost its elemental tech. I think this makes the same sound, or should I say, delivers the same report as a stomper. See, I'm using my acetylcholine to ponder these things. Let's test that. A normal Borderlands 1 player wouldn't be the least bit interested in these sorts of things. A person whose brain prefers dopamine over acetylcholine wouldn't be the least bit interested in these things. The Guardian can never be a stomper or Cobra, because stompers and cobras are defined by their names. Did I check this shot? Yeah.
Need to be a better shot. You just need to shoot more bullets.
Well, this sounds more Stomper-like than a Stomper. Why am I holding on to this if I have this? Better parts, mostly. Here we've got Barrel 2, the worst possible barrel to have on a Torg. Whereas if you have a Hyperion, Barrel 2 is fine. Barrel 2 is also fine on a Malawan sniper rifle. But Torg's weakness is accuracy. Oh, by the way, every brand's weakness can be overcome by having one or two specific weapon parts be of Type 3 quality or better. Or if it's a stock, Type 2 quality or better. And if it's a combat rifle, this is just a me thing, but I really hate Sight 1 on combat rifles because it provides such a small amount of zoom that basically all it does is cut off your peripheral vision. Anyway, Barrel 2 versus Barrel 5. Body types, I don't entirely remember body types for sniper rifles. PPZ and LB. I know LB isn't a very good one. I think that's like body 2 or something. And I forget what PPZ is. These both have stock 2. This has Sight 1, which matches its accuracy capabilities. And this one has Sight 3, which is the kind that looks like a TV screen, which I like. Every weapon type that has this, for whatever reason, I just kind of like that.
And no, here's a little detail that I only just now noticed. That little box that appears in the scope reticle, top right, your mini-map. It doesn't fit perfectly in there, but it overlaps part of it, and that kind of makes it look like they're, I don't know, kind of...
Well, if they fit together, yeah, that's... I'm just acetylcholining a bit much, maybe. See how much time is left in the shops.
What good is a gun that doesn't shoot where you point? Get a gun that's as accurate as you are.
This whole time I haven't even gotten myself into any action. I've just been running around looking for things to excite either my dopamine or my acetylcholine. But that is the purpose of this video.
Cheap, reliable, lightweight, and incredibly fast reload speeds. TDR makes an easy-to-use gun.
This has... all the parts on this are good except the body type. This has body 1. and that's the only thing that holds it back. This would, if this had, let's just say if this was built from all of these same parts and Body 5 and was a double SMG, this would be great to have on T.D.O.R. Allegiance. And if you do T.D.O.R. Allegiance, Morty is the one who can have the most fun. Morty can get the most use out of T.D.O.R. and Jacobs. I have a trucker hat with the Jacobs logo on it. I've had that hat for, I think, 9 years. I wear it all the time, weather permitting. But right now it's winter time, so I more commonly wear an Ushanka. You just don't need a scope on a rocket launcher if the rockets are slow. All it does is make it unnecessarily tedious to lead your target. Because the Mongol is a legendary, it can have a less than ideal body type and still have a good enough fire rate to be worth using. Atlas shotgun with body 1, 0.8 fire rate. Is that an Atlas or a T.D.O.R.? Atlas. Got a review for a moment. The details, the aesthetic details that differentiate them. The grip mostly. Because I've noticed in Borderlands 1 Enhanced, some of the different brand material types don't look as distinct from each other as they did in OG Borderlands 1. For example, the urban material type for doll looks, I don't know, plainer, more ordinary, and it would be really easy to visually get it mixed up with T.D.O.R. if you're not looking at the item card. 1.1 fire rate on a pump-actuated revolving sniper rifle. Nothing special about this, it's just a well-rounded sniper rifle built from good parts. Barrel 3, stock 4, I think that is. Sight 5, the best scope, and I don't know what body type that is. Doesn't serve any of my purposes. My dopamine is excited by this combination of parts, but my acetylcholine isn't interested because it doesn't fulfill any niche that I need on this character. Nor does this, but it's a green anyway. But it's an Atlas. I have found greens, even on playthrough 2.5, that are worth using. Who uses greens on playthrough 2.5? Well, practically nobody, including myself, except on the very rare occasion. But now we're getting into the rule versus the exception.
I might not have a med school degree, but when you get shot, you'll be happy I'm here.
Who's speaking? Oh... I've really done everything that I set out to do for the purposes of this video. And if you've managed to sit through all of this yakking so far, then congratulations. Your brain's utilizing acetylcholine just fine.
And you too can see what it feels like to hold the power of the gods in your hands.
Again, a non-red text gun that has prestige to it just because it's a purple 69 Hyperion sniper rifle built from, I think, high quality parts, at least the barrel and the scope. Barrel 5, sight 4. Again, I forget body types. I need to research that. And it has stock 1, but it's a Hyperion. I don't recall Hyperion sniper rifles having severe recoil, but I'm not playing as Morty. Stock quality matters less if you're playing as Morty. And it also differs per brand. Like, I'm pretty sure Torgs kick more and have less accuracy anyway. I can't help wondering what sorts of stats a Torg sniper rifle would have if it was exactly the same thing. A purple 69, it wouldn't have the name Lance, it would have some other name, built from this same combination of parts. Acetylcholine in my head. Once again.
Step right up. In a world of no guarantees, you can always count on Marcus guns.
I wish this would just stay open.
If you find that your gun just doesn't hold enough bullets, then SS has the solution. More bullets. All SS guns have extended magazines.
Doll sniper rifle. This is a poor quality one. Never mind that it's green, the parts are poor quality. Stock 1. Stock type matters less on a doll, though. The only reason I'm pointing out parts on a doll.
Bullets really fast? Vladov has your needs covered.
Malawan's accuracy might be second only to Hyperion. Or Atlas. Either Atlas accuracy might be second to Hyperion, and it depends on weapon type, of course. Man, I could just go on and on and on. But I won't. I think I've made my point. What was my point again? Oh yeah. If you're going to talk about dopamine, then at least be fair and talk about at least one other neurochemical alongside dopamine. It doesn't specifically have to be acetylcholine. That's just my personal favorite. Because I'm an ISTJ type 5 with a 6-wing, which is the same psychometric profile as Sheldon Cooper, I might add. who I'm always getting compared to. I always get compared to Sheldon Cooper and Dwight Schrute. But people always tell me I'm like a nice version of either or both of those caricatures, and I can live with that. Between the two of them, I'd rather be compared to Dwight, especially if you're going to point out that I'm like a nice version of Dwight. I actually had a coworker use those exact words to describe me, that I was like a nice version of Dwight. I can dig that. And it had nothing to do with my appearance except maybe my glass. Well, okay. I've got the glasses nerd look going on, but I don't part my hair in the middle, nor would I ever. Rainn Wilson rightly despises that look, but it works for the character, let's admit it. Anyway, just to reiterate, amateurs talk dopamine. Professionals talk acetylcholine. Or they'll talk about dopamine and at least one other neurochemical, acetylcholine or whatever else. You've got serotonin, you've got all the rest of them. But I would recommend talking about acetylcholine more often. And also, be wary of people who use the word ego always in a negative context, because they're most likely collectivists. There are too many people nowadays talking about how ego is bad, you got to kill your ego. People who believe that, people who proselytize that false doctrine, they obviously don't read psychology. Ergo, you can't trust them. They're utilizing nomenclature they don't fully understand, or they're understanding the nomenclature, but they're twisting it to serve an agenda. And if it's a collectivist agenda, then it's something to be called out as being false. Yeah, a little Dwight reference there. I had to work that in. If you're going to talk about ego, this is just like the dopamine thing. If you're going to talk about dopamine, talk about the other neurochemicals too. If you're going to talk about ego, talk about id and superego. Maybe the libido, which is an aspect of the id, possibly even eros and thanatos. Like, if you're going to talk about things pertaining to the psyche, talk about the whole shebang. Don't just focus on the ego and make it out like the ego is inherently bad. If ego is bad, then how and why is the ego the seat of reason? If it's the seat of reason, it can't be inherently bad. Now, granted, there are people who reason wrongly, but the ones who do that are typically authoritarian collectivists. They use human reasoning to justify all sorts of atrocities and stuff like that. All of that falls within the purview of authoritarian collectivism. Anyway, if the ego is inherently bad, does that mean the superego is inherently good? Oh, what's the superego? See, that's my point. That's my point right there. You're using the word ego, but you don't know what the word superego means, which tells me everything I need to know about where you're coming from. You're coming from a position of ignorance because you're a layperson. When I say you or your, I'm not talking about any one person specifically. Do keep that in mind. Don't take anything I say personally. I tend to speak in terms of universal principles. Doggone it, am I going off on tangents? Well, shucks, I'm adamant about this sort of thing. I can't help it. I'm scouring YouTube like every day and coming across this sort of thing without even trying. People talking about ego and dopamine, just throwing this nomenclature around, and they clearly have not done their research. Shucks, I'm stuck. Tanis backed me up here. I know she'd have my back on this. My caffeine's wearing off, so I think I'm going to call it. See you next mission, slabs. And catch you on the flip side.